Chatters, hopefuls, DonoFans, welcome home for a Great American Chat, a podcast where we chat about great American media. I'm Chad Maurice with the DonoFans. Cricket is here along with Jackie and Beth. Welcome back, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chad.
What is up? What's been going on?
Been watching One Hope Calls.
Well, that's a good thing because that's what we're chatting about tonight. So
I feel like it's been a part-time job. I've watched it. This episode, I've watched it, I think 3 or 4 different times.
Right.
Same.
Oh, have you?
Yeah,
me
well,
too.
the first time is like the preview.
Mhm.
And then the second time to take all my screenshots.
Right,
And then the third time Sunday night. And then about an hour and a half ago so that I did my homework for tonight.
Right?
Yeah.
Now you know what I go through for each episode.
Exactly. Can only imagine.
So I asked you two on here because obviously Trevor Donovan is in this episode. And Cricket filled me in a little bit. I know you two had the honor to hang out with Trevor in North Carolina. Was it last month for that casino night?
No.
Tell me a little bit about that. How fun was that?
Go for it, Beth.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. It was a charity fundraiser for a rescue for dogs. I think it was called Paul's Place.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a really fun opportunity to hang out, especially I think for Jackie and Cricket and me, the ladies, the other DonoFans. It was really so cool to see them all in person, and of course Trevor. So.
Yes, it was nice that we were all able to be there, and some of us meeting for the first time, some of us reuniting and getting to hang out, but all of us being there to support Trevor and to support such a great cause. I think Tracy said it best. She felt like what a wonderful way to support, that she knew her money was going to go to some place that it was really going to make a difference. But at the same time, we all got a chance to spend time together and, meet these people that you chat with on a pretty regular basis. Was incredible.
Yeah, it's always fun to meet the people that you know from social media, from online. It's nice to meet them in person.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Now, another thing that was going on with Trevor, last week he was on Grey's Anatomy. Tell me about that, because I didn't get to see it. What happened?
Well, it was a pretty cool episode. I wasn't sure what to expect, because we kind of found out about it last minute, but he was a window washer dressed as a superhero. And the the apparatus he was on started going back and forth, and all of a sudden he crashes through the window. And I've never watched the show. That was literally my first time watching Grey's, and I was just overwhelmed with everything that they were doing, kind of from the medical perspective. Like, they really, it was a scary moment to watch, and you knew that it wasn't real, but it felt real watching it.
Yeah, I saw in a picture, a screenshot of it, that he had this red cape on.
Yeah.
Why was he dressed as a superhero? What was that for?
Because he would be a superhero for the kids.
Oh, for the kids in the okay. I got you. Cricket, have you seen it yet?
No, actually, I don't have local channels.
I know you don't have local
but
channels.
I've seen clips, and I think I saw the full clip of what the accident happened, but I haven't seen the parts where they took care of him. And so I can't wait to be able to see the whole thing, because I have not seen it.
It was definitely a smashing entrance.
Smashing entrance. Yeah, I saw a little clip where he smashed through the window. Yeah.
He did a fantastic job with the character, and just how sweet he was with wanting to be that superhero for the kids that were in the pediatric wing. But what was hard for me is a woman came in that people thought was his mother, that was actually his wife. And then the storyline kind of quickly ended. Like, they mentioned that his parents were going to be coming in to see that he was okay. And his wife said, well, I'm going to head off to the cafeteria because we don't really get along. And so then you kind of thought there was going to be some piece to that storyline. And then that was it. They let you know he was going to be okay. but then his character never came back. The wife never came back. The parents never came back. So it kind of left me like, since I don't know the show, like, will he be on next week too? Or like, what's going to happen? But.
And it was a couple of close calls there for him too.
Oh, okay.
His
Yeah.
carotid artery got nicked, and then during surgery, they thought maybe he would have had a stroke, and then there was a problem with the bowel after that, but he pulled through.
So he was he on the entire episode?
Maybe the first half?
There were 3 main
okay.
stories.
Yeah.
So he kind of filtered in and out.
Oh,
but
okay.
he was definitely unconscious for most of it.
Oh, okay. All right. I'll have to catch it online. So I got to say hi to a few people in the chat here. We've got Tamara's here. Hey, Tamara. Kat is here. Jay's here. Victoria's here. She said she's bummed that we moved it to 8:30 because she's got to leave at 9. Well, I did that so Misty could join. Misty just joined. Hey, Misty. Jeannie's here. Misty's saying she's talking about Grey's Anatomy. She's saying she has over-the-air ABC, but it didn't let me watch Grey's Anatomy. Oh. Beth, thank you for your recap and photos.
Right?
All right, well, let's get into When Hope Calls, the 3rd episode of the 2nd season, and the hills are alive with the sound of music because Nora and fearless Fletcher finally had a conversation. And Beth, I have to tell you, you were so right about the last episode with the kids singing to Lillian.
Uh-huh.
That little boy, that wasn't his voice. He was lip syncing to a girl singing. Actually, a girl singing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the girl singing, her name, where is it? Her name was, where is it? Oh, Alyssa Odie.
Yeah, that's the music director's daughter, I think.
She was the one singing that Silver Lining. So now, how did you know? How'd you find out about all this?
Well, first of all, it didn't sound like a little boy singing. And so second of all, I went back and looked at the credits, and sure enough, in fact, I think those children were augmented by other singers.
Yeah, it could have been.
Wally. So
could have been. How did you know it was the editor's director or editor's daughter or somebody's daughter?
The last name looks the same as the music director's name.
Oh, the music director. Okay, that makes sense.
Niece or something, I don't know.
Okay, that makes sense. So, tonight's episode, we'll go around the room. Who knows the title? Oh, Cricket.
I think.
You usually
Is it coming
don't.
home? Is it coming home?
Coming home? Where'd you get that from?
I don't remember, and I knew it a minute ago. Dang it.
Finding Our Way.
Finding Our Way, that's right.
I'm not sure why it's called that, but
I was thinking of Jenny coming home. So that's why I think I thought of that.
That was a good guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the different director tonight. Directed by Megan Follows. And
I love that. She was Anne of Green Gables. She starred in Anne of Green Gables.
Oh, she did?
Yeah, so it's so cool to see her as a director now.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Written by Alfonso Moreno. And we have a new intro when they were rolling the beginning credits. Mm-hmm. They took out Morgan, who played Lillian. She's gone. They added in Sarah and Nick in those opening credits, but they still left out Lucy. Which I'm disappointed about.
That episode.
Oh, it's coming, Chad. Don't you worry.
Right?
Yeah.
They're going to have to put it back in for you, Chad. I mean, put it in there for you because it's not going to fly.
I'll be honest, though. When I was watching on the first time I watched it, I thought I missed Trevor in the opening credits. And I rewound it. And I was like, oh, no. Okay.
Yeah, he's not in the opening credits. Yeah. So Cricket's going to get us started here.
All right, so the first scene, we see Nora coming out of the kitchen with a plate full of hotcakes, and she's asking everybody, do they want seconds? And they're all like kind of looking down at their plates and kind of not eating the hotcakes. And, a couple of them, they're like, oh, we're still full from last night's dinner, and they're like, yeah, that Eleanor, she makes some great fried chicken. And then the one little girl, Ruby, she's like, well, do we have to eat everything on our plate? And so then Nora's like looking at him like disappointed, and she's like, no, just go ahead and go outside. So she's still got to get some pointers from Eleanor to cook a little better because the kids aren't having it.
Yeah, so it's established here that Nora is not a good cook. That's because she was too busy reading those law books. I mean, she didn't learn how to do anything in the kitchen.
Right.
I thought the kids, though, they found the nicest way to say she was a horrible cook.
Yes. They really did.
I know, like, I'm not the best in the kitchen. And so I was like, they found some really sweet ways to, to say that. Because I know, like, sometimes when I go to people's houses, they're like, oh, you can bring the bread, or you can, like, things that I can't screw up.
I would think it's hard to mess up hotcakes, though. So she must really need some lessons.
I mean, I looked at the plate. They looked pretty good. I mean, I don't know.
Unless she left out something.
Yeah, she may have.
So maybe this is why Nora is not married.
True.
That would explain a lot here, Chad. Thank you.
Right?
Because you know the old phrase, the way to a man's heart is through his stomach.
Through his stomach. That's right.
Especially in 1920.
So this brings up our first debate on tonight's menu is what is the difference between hotcakes and pancakes? And if there is a difference, what is there a difference? And if so, what is it?
I don't know. I think they called them hotcakes when back in the 1920s, and somebody changed it later on. I don't know.
Well, so then where does flapjacks?
Yeah, flapjacks is
that's
another
true.
term for pancakes as well. So I looked this up and I read a couple different sources. One source said there was no difference. And the other source said that hot cakes are made with a leavening agent and they're thicker and smaller than pancakes.
Okay.
Interesting. Okay.
So who knows? I don't know.
So maybe hers were like pancakes and that's why the kids didn't like them.
So our third new character arrives in town. She is greeted by Maggie. Her name is Hannah Lawrence, and she is the niece of Ray Lawrence, whose ranch was mentioned in the last episode. Now, Hannah must have something on her mind here because she was zoned out in the stagecoach. She didn't even know she arrived.
Yeah.
Yeah. She goes to the hotel and meets Ronnie, and she asks for a phone. He says the town doesn't have one. And I was thinking what he should have said was that Grumpy voted against the town having a phone in the council meeting in the last episode.
Right?
He asks if she wants a room. She says no until she finds out that telegrams can't be delivered to ranches. And the scene ends with a funny moment. Hannah starts to go to her room, and she is waiting for Ronnie to pick up her luggage. He stands there like a bump on a log, and she picks up her luggage by herself and just walks away. So apparently Ronnie doesn't help people with luggage.
He's not a gentleman, is he?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was very shocking, especially for the time. I thought that, and even if it wouldn't have been Ronnie, that there would have been somebody there that would have scooped up her luggage and, it would have already been on the way.
Right.
Well, since Grace left, Ronnie doesn't have any help at the hotel.
I guess.
You're right. True. That is true.
Yeah. So what was your first impression of Hannah?
She was a fancy lady. I love the way. Yeah, no, you could definitely tell that she was a woman who was independent, and like I just felt like that way from the very beginning, just the way she walked in the door. She was going to be this independent, no nonsense. And I know that some other people may see her differently, as we see the show unfold. But that's what I thought about her right from the start.
I noticed her outfit right away. I really liked it.
Oh, okay. Okay.
And then we learn later on, why it is so nice.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh. Oh, so Kat's saying about the pancakes. She thinks it's a regional thing. The names of, she says it's like soda, pop, and cola.
Maybe.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Misty says, poor Hannah, she is out of her element in this little town. Oh, Jay said she's from the big city, so she expected a bellhop.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, Ronnie does claim to have the most extravagant, elegant hotel. So, I mean, he needs
Yeah,
a
I
bellhop.
know. That's true. That's what he always brags about, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He brags a lot.
Mhm. So at the orphanage, the kids are playing in autumn leaves, and I had to include a screenshot of the leaves because I always
Yeah.
I like autumn with the leaves on the ground, and I have fond memories of playing in the leaves when I was a kid. You all played in the leaves, right? When you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, that was always fun. So inside, Sam and Maggie are having a meeting with Nora. She tells them not to tell anyone about Sam's gold that he found until the government approves the paperwork that she filed. And then Sam invites Maggie out to lunch. And I was wondering, did they have their dinner date? We didn't get to see it if they did.
Mm.
Yeah, I wanted to see their first date.
Well, maybe they're going to continue it later.
Yeah, maybe. Eleanor gives Nora a telegram about a child that needs to be picked up and transferred to the orphanage. Nora says, I can't do this. The Mounties won't give me custody of this kid because the orphanage is in Lillian's name, which is exactly what somebody said last week about what was going to happen this week. They heard that a new kid was coming to town, and Cricket, you said something, or somebody said something like the orphanage isn't in Lillian's name, so how can she get the kid?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she's going to have problems unless you have Mountie Jim, because Mountie Jim will give her custody.
Or will he?
If you can convince him.
If you can convince him. All right, Cricket.
Yeah, so we see this overhead shot of all this cattle, and it's actually a beautiful shot. I know Beth, you said, or Jackie, one of you said it earlier. These aerial views, I think, with drones. I don't know if they had a drone for this or not, but it was just beautiful, magnificent. And then with the fall backdrop, it was just so beautiful. And so you see the cattle, and then you see one of Tess's ranchers, is waiting there, and she comes riding up, and he's like, your livestock is growing like wildfire, and he's like, they're running out of land, and she says, well, I have a solution. And he asks, well, are you going to bid on the Lawrence Ranch? And she just kind of looks at him and smiles, and then like trots off because she's got a plan. So yeah, it was a beautiful scene. I love that scene with the aerial shots.
Yeah, and I was thinking, where's Lucy? Why isn't she in this scene?
Perfect opportunity.
Who's this
Yeah.
guy? I know, perfect opportunity. Who's this guy? And where's Hank? Remember Hank, her rancher from the first season?
Yeah,
Where's he?
actually, yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I honestly feel like I need flashcards. I feel like I'm
Yes.
still learning all of the characters, and I
Yeah.
legitimately considered creating flashcards for each of the characters with like their picture, their name, and a little bit about them. Because there are
Yeah.
so many. And then you got season 1 and season 2, and like when you even research it online, most of the things that they're still showing are from season 1, and I'm like, you're confusing me even more because these are people that aren't here anymore, but
Right.
they're still being named like on IMDb or just online. So
Oh, Misty agrees about the cinematography, that it's lovely.
Yeah. Yeah, you had mentioned Chad too about the fall setting, how it was like perfect for that for the start of this, season.
Oh yeah. Back at Ronnie's hotel, Wyatt, who is the foreman of the Lawrence Ranch, arrives to pick up Hannah and take her to the ranch. So we get another new character introduced to us here, Wyatt, who is a major hunk, I think. He's a handsome dude. Yeah.
Yeah, he is pretty handsome.
Yes.
He is.
Yes. Easy on the eyes.
Yeah, he
Yes.
is. Yeah. So let's see. So Hannah, yeah. So let's see. Wyatt's there to pick her up. Hannah says she's not going because she needs to stay near the telegraph office. She tells him to take a seat because she has a lot of questions. He says, I have a ranch to run, and walks away. Ruth from the telegraph office interrupts with a telegram for Hannah. The telegram is about construction on her new boutique. Hannah reads it and then gives Ruth a response. Sam and Maggie, who are at the next table, overhear Hannah say that the Lawrence Ranch is up for auction. Sam says, since I have more money than I can spend, what if I buy a ranch? And Maggie's like, what do you know about ranching? And he says, nothing. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, if we go back to the scene when Nora is talking to the two of them, I feel like there was almost some foreshadowing that maybe this is not going to be a smooth process to his claim.
Oh, the claiming to the gold?
Right.
Oh,
I think
okay.
someone may end up contesting it.
Oh, okay. That's an interesting good point. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, because I was afraid. I was like, I hope he doesn't start buying all of these things, and then all of a sudden he's gonna owe, and it's not. I had the same kind of feeling, Beth, that like something's gonna go wrong. And I feel like too, like there's almost like a little soap opera-ish in here. Like people are kind of walking in and hearing parts of conversations, and they'll start to put things together. And I just think it's really kind of interesting how that may all play out, how everybody kind of comes to know or thinks they know what they know.
Yeah. So what was your first impression of Wyatt here?
I think his coloring, his dark hair is dark, outfit is dark, scruff is very striking and just adds more to the characters. Just his coloring. I know that sounds kind of strange, but but he
I see what you're saying, Beth, because it's not like he's a dark soul, but he's different from a lot of the other characters. He just has more depth.
And actually looks quite good with Hannah, I think, both of them.
Yes. I feel like there's going to be something that happens there too. I really do. Because they're not related or anything. He's just one of the ranch hands, I believe, right?
Yeah. And I noticed he's wearing a black cowboy hat. So does that mean he's a bad guy? Because in the old westerns, the bad guys always wore the black cowboy hats.
Oh,
there you go. Yeah, it started with something light silver or something, so maybe that means there's something good around him.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't see him as a bad guy, but I see him as a guy who's no nonsense. You know what I mean? He was like, I'm not hanging around here waiting while you dictate this, this message. I've got things to do. You know what I mean? So I don't see him as a bad guy, but definitely no nonsense.
Yeah.
Oh, Misty agrees with Beth here. I think there will be a problem, and Sam will pre-spend his gold. Oh, pre-spend it. I got you. Okay. And Victoria has a little info here. It will not be a smooth process. The actor John McLaren did an interview. He said more money, more problems. Oh, okay. Oh, Misty says Wyatt looks amazing in that rancher's duster. Yeah, I know. Nick has the most precise beard I've ever seen on a human. He must have had it lasered. Yeah, it is. You're right. That's true.
I was thinking that it was very precise. Like for those times, I was
thinking that too for 1920.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that was so neat for 1920.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, Victoria says Sam's going to have lots of jobs and hilarious moments before something hits. Oh, okay. All right. And anytime we're doing this, Beth and Jackie, you can interrupt me and just, add any information you want while we're doing this.
Gotcha.
Oh, here we go. Oh, this scene.
Hang on. Got to get my notes again.
All right.
Okay, so not that I need notes for this scene, but I will just because you typed them up for me, Chad. Okay, so this next scene, we see Nora. She's knocking on the Mountie's, office, and he's not there. And then she hears like the sound of chopping wood off to the side. And so she kind of walks over and she pauses for a minute and she's looking. And she is drooling, as Chad says, over fearless Fletcher chopping the wood. And so she kindly interrupts him and says, excuse me. I don't remember exactly what her words are, but basically she's asking him if he could accompany her to the to the Mountie's office in the town or whatever to pick up Jenny to bring her back to the orphanage. And so then he's like, "Oh, we finally." What did he say, Chad? He said, "We finally." Something he said something, and then he's like, "Oh, or what do I call you, Mrs. or Miss or
Miss
whatever?"
or Mrs.
Yeah, so he's trying to get out if she's single or if she's married.
Oh, yeah.
So she then proceeds and says her name is Nora, and I think she said Miss. I think did she say Miss?
Yeah.
Miss
Yeah, okay.
Anderson, but you can
Miss.
call me Nora.
That's
Yeah.
right. And so then she basically just asks him to ride with her to Clearwater to get the orphan that she's not supposed to have, really. But we'll see what happens.
Uh-huh.
Things might change on that.
Yeah.
All right. So I got to ask, what is it about guys chopping wood? Why is that such a turn on for women?
Well,
Probably because all the Hallmark movies have it in there, and then they never like compete against each other. And we've been waiting for this competition forever with all kinds of different actors.
Exactly.
that's part of the Mountie job description, chopping wood.
Now, this wood chopping scene is much better than the one in Love Finds You in Charm, right?
Oh,
No, that's a big fat no.
That
Sorry,
would be
Miss
a-
Russell. But no, doesn't even compare.
Oh,
Yeah. I had to throw that in.
Yeah, I knew you did, Chad.
nice try, Chad. Nice try.
Yeah.
All right, what's Misty saying here? She says, loves their little conversation on how interested Fletcher was in her. He doesn't beat around the bush. No, he doesn't. You're right. Oh, Misty says it's because of the strength involved in chopping wood. That's what women like about it. Ah, okay. I got to read some of those other ones. Temporary. When get
What?
oh, that's true. Someone
Oh,
said
that is true, Jay.
What?
I
What?
forgot. He's right.
Uncle Ray died chopping wood.
That Ray Lawrence, the guy who's Hannah takes
What?
over the
That's
ranch.
very true.
Oh, he died chopping wood? Is that how he had a heart attack chopping wood?
Yes, he did. Yes.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
I forgot that
Oh.
too.
Yeah, that's a good call. I didn't remember that was this. I remembered a heart attack, but I didn't remember that it was specifically because of that. So.
Oh, Victoria says there are no married people in
Yeah, there aren't.
In Brookfield.
Brookfield. Everyone's single. Really? Is that true?
It's true.
True.
Oh,
True.
wow. Okay.
That's my kind of town. Let's go,
I was just
Jackie.
gonna say, give me the zip code.
Come on, Chad.
Brookfield, here I come.
That's your kind of town. Oh, that's funny. Nora goes back to the orphanage and tries to break up a pillow fight between the boys, but she doesn't have the chops. Eleanor takes charge with her commanding voice and tells them knock it off and get cleaned up for dinner. Nora sulks while peeling potatoes, and she says Lillian and Grace could relate to these kids because they were orphans, and you have years of experience. What do I have? Eleanor says you care, and that is what the children need. So, Nora needs to grow a pair, keep these kids in line.
I think that's a hard thing to step in, though, to kind of, I think they probably saw her as this like friendly, the new person, and they're gonna test the boundaries a little bit. But even later on, even when the boys were still upstairs, even after Eleanor went in, like you heard that rustling in the background, they went right back to the pillow fighting. You still heard that they did that.
Oh,
'cause
did
that's what
they?
kids do. They test
Yeah,
their boundaries.
they
Yeah.
did.
Did they after? Oh, okay.
I heard that the third or fourth time. So it took me.
Okay.
It
Me
took me a
too,
couple
Jackie.
times to hear that, you know. But what I loved in this is like I loved how they've highlighted kids being kids, like playing in the leaves, the pillow fights, like those things that were that are just like so simple, but like just such a fun part of childhood.
Mm-hmm.
I like too, Jackie, that they do put the spotlight on children, and that children do have a story focus. At least one child in every episode so far has had a story focus, and I like that.
That's well stated, Beth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, Misty says if you don't know children, it's hard to establish your role, especially if you're uncomfortable around them. Yeah, okay. Oh, Jeannie says Nora needs a teacher's voice.
Yeah, true, Gene.
Okay, Cricket. Wait.
No,
Wait a
that's
minute.
you.
Oh, wait a minute. Where am I?
I don't know.
Did I get these out of order? Wait a
I don't
minute.
know. Did you?
Wait a minute. What's going on here? 7. Oh, we're missing 8, aren't we? Oh, wait a minute.
Do you want me just to say which one it is?
No, here we go.
Oh, there we go.
We're missing 8
All
for
right.
some reason.
All right.
Okay.
You ready?
So this is you,
All
right?
right. Yeah, this is me.
Here we go. All right.
All right. So we see Hannah. She's having lunch at the hotel, and she's sitting there and talking with Ronnie, and then all of a sudden she like dips her napkin into her water, and she starts like taking off a stain or something, and then Tess walks in and she tells Ronnie, "Hey Ronnie, I need some coffee." And so Hannah's like, "Excuse me, didn't you see I was ordering?" And she goes, "Boy, some people just act like they own the place." And then Tess is like, "Well, I just thought you were like, ordering and then messing with your, what did she say? Your get up. What did she say?
Yeah,
Is that what she
fancy
said?
get
Her
up.
get up.
Her
Her fancy get
I
up. That's what
think.
it was. And
Yeah.
so then of course, like I said, Hannah says, "Well, boy, some people act like they own the place." And then Tess turns around, she goes, "Well, some people do." And then she's like, "Well, half anyways." And as Ronnie's handing her the coffee. And so then Hannah's sitting there and she's like, she doesn't know what to say now because now she's like eating her words because she's sitting at this hotel and here Tess owns half of it, so but yeah.
So
it was,
I thought of Beth in this scene because Prickly Tess is back.
And
Yeah.
I really liked seeing gruff Tess, and I also like that Hannah has a little edge to her too. So these two have really good chemistry together, I thought. So it'll be fun to see that sparring.
Yeah. I think that they might go at each other a little bit.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yep. Sam is at Joe's store looking through a catalog. He sees a dress he would like to order for Maggie. Maggie says now is not the time to be spending your gold. And whoops, Debbie overhears and says, "Gold? What gold?" Maggie is fast on her feet and says, "Oh, it's just an expression about wasting time." Yeah, that's it. She tells Sam not to buy anything. He says, "Okay, but I can start to plan on buying things." He sees Tess and beelines it towards her. He asks if she has any openings for work on a ranch. She looks him up and down and says, "What do you know about ranching?" He says, "Nothing." She says, "You got the body, but not the will, and I don't have time to teach you." He makes a deal with her that he will work for free for a week to prove himself before she decides to hire him. So I'm wondering how long Sam and Maggie are going to be able to keep this secret about the gold.
Yeah. Probably not very long.
Not too long. Yeah, like I said, I think there's different characters that are hearing little bits and pieces of all this. And so I think that it's going to quickly come together.
If I were Maggie, though, I would have said it's a British expression.
Right. Yeah.
That's true. Oh, yeah, you're right. Because she's British. Yeah. Let's see. What is Misty saying? Sam is a nester. What guy in 1920 would even mention buying a dress for a woman he isn't married to or even engaged to?
And they've only been on
Oh,
like one date.
Right.
Yes, absolutely.
yeah, that's true. A lunch date, maybe a dinner date. We don't know.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So in this scene, we see it's not there, but kind of there. Mountie Mike, Fearless Fletcher arrives at the orphanage to escort Nora to Clearwater, and she comes out of the house and she's got her little her briefcase or whatever, some lunch that she packed, and just kind of telling him exactly what she has for for the ride, and he's like, well, it's only like 2 hours, and she's like, I know, I just like to be prepared. And so they get into the wagon, and then they both lean down at the same time to get the reins. So he says, "Oh, you basically, oh, you want the reins or you want to drive?" And she says, "Yep." And she goes, "Do you have a problem with that?" And he's like, "No, it's your wagon." But you could tell he was a little like snubbed by it, like, well, okay,
Oh,
like,
yeah. He was a little taken back.
yeah, he was.
Yeah.
Another
So,
reason why she's not married, because it is 1920.
Exactly.
Dating sort of stance.
That's
Mhm.
true. In 1920, you had to let the man drive, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I expected, though, I thought there was going to be a plot twist in this scene because she had talked about being prepared. And as she was putting everything in the back of the wagon, she put her briefcase in, but the briefcase didn't seem to go in all the way. And I thought that somewhere along the way, the briefcase was going to fall out and they were going to get to Clearwater and she wasn't going to have the paperwork. Because even in my mind, I thought, why wouldn't you put something so important up in front of the buckboard with you or the wagon as opposed to putting it in the back? And I was waiting for it, and then it didn't happen. But it seemed like the way that they had the camera work, they seemed to be very much focusing on the fact that she was putting the briefcase in. And I just expected more from that.
It would have given us a little more drama.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Although we do get some drama here in the
Some we did.
shortly. Yeah. Yeah. So Nora here, she lets Mike know who's boss. Why can't she do that with the kids?
Well, that's one versus many. I think that's,
Yeah. Plus, he's a Mountie. He's got to be nice to women. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe we'll see, I guess, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. All right, Cricket, you're up with this one again.
All right, so they take off and they're heading to Clearwater in the wagon. And again, you see some beautiful shots of them going through the woods and the fall leaves, and they're getting to know each other while they're riding in the wagon. And so he starts asking her, like, so what do you do for, what is your job? And she tells him she's a lawyer. And he's like, oh, so you represent guilty people. And so she gets really insulted and says, not everyone is guilty of the crime they are arrested for. And he goes, well, the people I arrest are. And so they basically have this little tiff taff, on the way to Clearwater. And so then she finally she says, are all your conversations like an interrogation? We need to stop talking. And so they kind of look both, different ways, and then the scene kind of ends. So, but yeah, they were fine until, they started really digging into what her job was and whatnot, and she was not having it.
Yeah. Now, during this conversation, he uses the word interrogating.
Yes.
And Nora says, that is not a word. And I was thinking, Nora, yeah, that is a word. Yeah, why is that in there? I didn't understand why they put that in there, the writers.
Yeah.
Because that's a word.
Maybe it wasn't in the dictionary yet back then or something. I don't know.
I don't know. So like you mentioned, Cricket, these two aren't getting along very well.
No, really not.
Yeah.
No, but it's the kind of tension that is going to lead up to something romantic. You know what I mean? It's
Oh,
just,
yeah.
It's going to be the angst that keeps the slow burn going very slow.
Very slow.
Law enforcement. I go like this and clash from time to time.
Jean says, why was she always looking to the side? Keep your eyes on the road, Nora. She didn't want to stare at Fearless, probably.
That's probably it.
She was getting so irritated with him, she had to look away. She just couldn't even like look even close to his direction.
Not enough.
Oh, wait. Oh, Misty's got a long comment here. She says, why are all the women so independent in this show? I'm totally okay with letting the man take the reins. Oh, and be gallant. I have nothing to prove. I'm more than capable of caring for myself. I love to be cared for. Okay. I do approve of Michael sweeping Nora up. Oh, yeah, which happens later. Yeah.
So I can just say, Misty, having watched 11 out of 12 seasons of One Calls the Heart, and now this, I think it's really important to these producers to make women look ultra strong, no matter what year it is or what century.
Yeah.
It's almost to a fault, I would say, in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, I appreciate, obviously, like as a female, I appreciate that to be strong, but I almost feel like sometimes that when you are watching a period piece, you are expecting it to be a certain way. And I'll be honest, one of the things that does bother me, and this is such a small thing, but I would think that back in like at 1916, most of the women would have worn their hair up.
Yeah.
Like I could buy Tess with the long hair. I could buy that just because of that's kind of being her character. But I would expect all of the other women to have their hair pulled back in a bun or something like that. And I'm like, it just makes them look a little too modern. And it's like,
yes. Yeah.
It almost sometimes takes me out of like, what time frame are we really in?
Yeah.
True. It's all about the details.
It absolutely, especially when you're doing a period piece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I guess they're trying to get, and I don't understand this, but in their minds, maybe the audience can relate better to an ultra strong woman and long hair, or hair that's not tied back. I don't know.
Yeah, that's true. They did wear their hair up back then.
Yeah, but I think about somebody like a Harriet Olsen back on Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
She was a tough woman, and her hair was always pulled back. So.
Yeah, that's a good point. So while those two are arguing, Tess visits the Lawrence Ranch and tells Wyatt she wants to buy it. He says you will have to bid on it at the auction like everyone else. She says, what if I make an offer before the auction? He says you would have to talk to her. And he points to Hannah, who is riding up in a little cart pulled by a donkey. Tess sees her, shakes her head, and thinks, oh no, that's that annoying girl from the hotel. Tess apologizes for interrupting her lunch. Then Hannah insults Tess when she says, oh, I know you. You own that small ranch. Tess is taken back and says, well, it's much larger now. So, like you mentioned earlier, Beth, I think Tess has found her new enemy. Yeah, I like these two going back and forth.
Yeah,
I think it should be interesting. What happens? Oh, wait, what's Kat saying here? Kat says Bill Ebbett said they were a bit bothered by the hairstyles. Oh, really? Oh, so Bill wasn't on board with the hairstyles either. Okay.
Maggie's wig is not the greatest. They could have done something better with that.
Wait, you think that's a wig? Is it?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I wasn't sure.
I think so.
Do you think she wore a wig in the first season too?
I have to go back and check. She had red hair back in the first.
She had red hair in the first season. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, Misty says it bugs her a bit about how they try to make the women look so strong. Okay.
All right. So the next scene we have here, Sam shows up at Tess's ranch for the first day of his work. And so the rancher basically gets him started building some of the fences or mending the fences. And he walks back up and tells them, "Hey, you're doing a pretty good job here." And he's like, "Yeah, I could do this. Beautiful scenery, admiring the views, the peacefulness." And he basically says, "Well, for right now, you better get back to work, or you ain't gonna have a job, basically." And so in the background, while he's still mending the fences, Tess and the rancher, she goes up to him and she asks him, she's like, "Well, so how's he doing?" He goes, "Yeah, he's doing pretty good." And she's like, "Well, great." She goes, "We'll let him finish out that free work, week of work, and then we'll hire him." And so then he continues to mend the fence. And then she tells her rancher, "We got to get all those hay bales up in top of the barn or whatever." And so you see Sam in there and he's moving the hay, and all of a sudden he starts sneezing like 10 times in a row, and you're like, "Oh, something's coming." uh And so it kind of, the scene ends, and then the next morning Maggie's like, "Oh, good morning, how can I help you?" And she like turns around and there's Sam, and his eyes are just all swollen, and poor guy, I just felt so bad for him. I'm like, "Oh no, you are not going to make it on the ranch."
Yeah, and I saw. Go ahead. What were you gonna say?
I just read something just before we got on that that John said that when they were putting all that makeup on, that for like 30 minutes his eyes were glued shut and he started to like panic, like not expecting that. And I like reading that made me panicky, you know what I mean? To think about whatever it was that they were putting on for that. I mean, because it looked painful just seeing the scene, but imagining having for them to put all of that on and how long that would have taken, that would freak me out for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Misty says she can relate. As a child, she had terrible allergies and her eyes would puff up. Oh, wait, what is, oh, wait a minute. Misty says, "Can't have feathers around my face." Oh, really?
No boas for you, Misty.
No, what'd you say, Cricket?
I said no boas for Misty.
Oh, that's right. You can't be a flapper girl, right, on Halloween?
That would be the late 1920s.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Nora and Mike stop for lunch, and I had to get a screenshot of this picture here. You can see them getting out of the wagon. You can see all the yellow leaves in the background. I thought this was a nice picture.
Beautiful.
Yeah. He says, "We can eat in the wagon." She says, "We can eat in the field." So they are butting heads, continuing to butt heads. She starts to put down a blanket, but sees a rattlesnake. Fearless Fletcher to the rescue. He picks her up and runs back to the wagon with her. So Fearless Fletcher is strong. I mean, he picked her up and ran with her.
Yeah.
Because I'm guessing Nora has to weigh what? Probably 130 pounds. I mean, that's a lot of weight to pick up and run with.
A woman never shares her weight.
I know. I'm just guessing. Because I've met Cindy. Cindy's pretty tall. So
I have a question.
What?
Yeah, we've had this. Go ahead.
No,
What?
I just want to ask.
What?
The rattlesnake in Canada in autumn, is that common? They
Oh.
sort of remind me of like a desert kind of snake.
Oh, yeah. Usually, yeah. Rattlesnakes are on the desert, usually.
So I just thought that was an interesting, I guess I would have to research it, but.
That would make sense though, Beth. I don't disagree. I think the thing that got me about that was I didn't actually, like, I saw him come and scoop her up, but I never saw the snake come near his leg.
Oh, yeah. They don't show it. They don't show it.
They made
when he jumps, he kind of can see it.
Yeah,
but you don't see the snake actually bite him.
No.
You think that they would do that unless they didn't want you to know that purposely, but like, because he was being a hero, right? Like maybe that was done purposely, but like I was kind of like, because like I said, I watched it a few times, so I thought, well, maybe I missed it the first time, and I was sort of waiting for that.
He jumps over the snake, and like Cricket said, you hear the rattle.
But you don't see it.
I don't think they wanted you to see it because I think they wanted it to be a surprise later.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, in the next scene when she sees his blood coming through his pants. I think that's probably why they didn't show it.
It
So
deadly
Tamara, what's she saying? Historical inaccuracies. Mistakes like this are very easy to make for modern writers of movies and TV shows, but sometimes it's done purposely, like in A Knight's Tale, starring Heath Ledger. Okay, yeah. Yeah, sometimes they do add some modern things and some of these old stories that they're trying to. Oh, what's Kat saying? Bill Abbott and his team had a bit of a problem with the snake scene. Why is that? I think they had to edit it a bit. Oh, really?
Oh,
Did they feel
Oh,
like it was too violent? Maybe.
maybe they cut out the snake biting him. Maybe.
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, to me, what I would have expected is that you would have gotten the reaction from Fearless Fletcher that like he knew that it happened, but he wasn't going to let Nora know that it happened. Like that's kind of what I was expecting in that scene, and then it would unfold later. But obviously, maybe that was it. Maybe they edited it out. Maybe that's the way it was supposed to be, and who knows?
Oh, Jay says they had rattlesnakes up in the Adirondacks in upstate New York.
that's good to know.
Oh, okay. All right.
All right. So in the next scene, we see them get back into the wagon and they continue their journey and they're talking and all of a sudden, Fearless Fletcher starts kind of moaning a little bit and Nora sees blood on his pants and realizes he was bitten by the rattlesnake. And he's like, "Oh, it's not a big deal. I've been bit before. I've built up a tolerance." And she's just looking at him like, "I saw a man die from a rattlesnake bite." And, he's just like acting like it's not a big deal. So she's not having it. She's like, "We need to get you to the infirmary." And he's like, "I'm fine," basically.
Now,
But yeah.
so Kat in the chat says we definitely have rattlesnakes in California. Are you out in California, Kat? I didn't realize that. She says she has encountered them several times. Really? Wow. Wow, I didn't realize that.
I think they have them in Florida too, because when I lived in Florida, they had one called a diamondback rattler, I think, that was down in Florida. So I think they have probably different types for different.
Yeah, I just didn't know, like with Canada, and I guess
Right.
they are further north than I had originally thought.
Now,
Still a
I'm
good
glad to
question.
say I've never been bitten by a rattlesnake, but I would
Right.
think that there'd be more blood than what's on there. And maybe that's also part of we don't want to upset our audience. So we're just going to put this little spot on there and call it a day. But I'm thinking it would look a little different. But
Yeah,
I said, I've never been bitten, so I don't know for sure.
Gianna says fourth time the charm. Oh, Kat says she's in Southern California. Oh, nice. Misty says it's a great slow build to Fearless Fletcher's character and personality in each episode. Oh yeah, you learn each episode a little bit more about courageous things that he's done. She loves his character. Yeah, that's true. You do learn a little bit more each time. So I had to include this next shot here because I'm all about autumn.
Yeah.
It shows them riding there in the wagon, and you can see all the leaves in the background and some of the autumn colors or leaves on the ground. Some of the autumn colors in the background. I like that picture there.
Gorgeous.
And what's this? It looks like they're like on like a road almost. I mean, they didn't have roads in 1920, did they?
No, but they had paths. I mean,
Did they have paths? Well, they didn't have lawnmowers to cut down the grass to make a path, right?
covered it with leaves.
right? That's true. They could have fallen and blown there, Chad. Come on now.
I don't know, but look, see how the grass is short where they're riding and long on the left and right of the cart? Yeah, I was wondering about that. Oh, wait, what's Misty saying about snake bites? I think snake venom causes coagulation, so you don't seep the venom out. Oh, okay. Okay, we're gonna talk more about those snake bites.
Which is why they used to suck it out sometimes.
Right.
Yeah.
See, you get entertainment and you learn when you watch Great American Chat. That's what I like about tuning in here.
You learn all kind of stuff. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Stuff that you didn't even want to know. Now we're back to Maggie. Maggie buys a cookie from Debbie. Debbie says, I'm glad things are progressing with you and Sam. You wouldn't want to spend your gold on someone who is not serious. Maggie says, huh? Debbie says, waste your time. Maggie's like, oh yeah, right. I'm not wasting my gold on Sam, and he is not wasting his gold on me. And then she runs off before she lets something slip.
Which makes it look all the more obvious the way she kind of.
Right?
Now, through this entire episode, I thought Maggie would crack and tell Debbie about the gold. I thought for sure it was going to happen.
Yeah. But she's into Sam, though, so she's not going to risk Sam.
Yeah.
I don't think she would do it.
Yeah. And I'm guessing that Debbie is going to be the first one to find out.
Probably.
I wish that I had somebody on my street corner that sold all of those amazing pastries.
Right?
And I think now that I'm trying to learn all these characters, I'm going to remember her as Little Debbie with all the.
That's
all the
right.
treats.
Oh, that's great, Jackie. I love it.
Oh, wait, Misty just dropped. Oh, that was Jay that dropped out. The fatality rate from rattlesnake bites is estimated to be 1 in 1,800 incidents. Really? Well, it had to be more than that in 1920, though.
Wow.
It had to be more people dying from snake bites in the 20s.
Yeah, but Fearless Fletcher seemed to be, thinking he'd be all right. So maybe he knew those statistics.
Maggie is going to
Maybe.
spill the gold info. She doesn't have a poker face, Misty says. Let's see, where did I leave off? Oh, Hannah asks Wyatt if he will take her to see her uncle's grave. And we get some more scenes on the horses, which I like. We get to see more horses there as they're riding out to the grave.
Mhm.
So she breaks down in tears at the grave site. All right, so we got to chat about this. While she was crying there, I was thinking, how close were they? Because she hasn't visited him in 17 years.
17 years, right.
There's a lot of tears going on for someone you haven't seen in 17 years. Did any,
Yeah, well, maybe,
did any of you think that way?
not really.
Does she feel guilty that she inherited the
Yeah.
ring when she wasn't close? That close?
Yeah.
That could be. Yeah.
Yeah, that's another thing I thought of. Does she feel guilty because she didn't visit him often enough?
Yeah.
Yeah, that may be part of it.
Could be.
You're right, Beth. Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think of it that way. Actually,
Mhm.
that scene made me tear up. I thought
Me too.
Sarah
Me
did
too.
such an amazing job of portraying
Mhm.
like what Hannah would be feeling in that moment. So like I
Uh-huh.
wasn't even thinking about guilt, or it never dawned on me that it had been that much time. It was just that it was
Uh-huh.
like such a moment, and I thought it was really well captured, and I felt very
Oh, yeah.
caught up in that emotionally in that
Mhm.
moment.
Oh, yeah, definitely. She did a good job crying. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I like how Wyatt said, I'll leave you alone. And he walked away,
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Misty says Hannah's tears made her sad. I wonder what the backstory is that caused such a deep reaction. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Here's something I thought too, because
What?
when Hannah, she didn't ask Wyatt to take her to Ray's grave. She told him he's going to take her there. And I thought that was kind of being an ultra strong woman again. You know, he
Oh.
should have at least asked him. That
Uh-huh.
would have been polite. But
Oh, that's true. That's true. She kind of ordered him.
it kind of goes with her character a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
it's the string of women that way.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So I had to include this random shot of Wyatt and Hannah riding because I love these horses. So I had to include this shot.
Yeah.
The horses throughout this whole episode and throughout this whole series are just so beautiful.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, Jean, that's a good point. She says, remember, it was harder to travel back then. You couldn't visit people. Yeah, like you can do now. Yeah, that's true. I did think that, but yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, Kat says, bossy city lady. Oh, now here's your scene. Here we go. So Nora and Mike arrive in Clearwater. They meet Mountie Jim. Nora tells him they are there to pick up Jenny, the orphan who was arrested for stealing cheese. Jim is reluctant to give her custody of Jenny because she is not Lillian, but Mountie Mike convinces him that it is okay. All right, reaction so far
So the
of
first
Trevor being on screen.
the first thing I thought when he said she had stolen a hunk of cheese, I was thinking Jean Valjean stealing a loaf of bread.
Me too, Beth. Such Les Mis vibes. It's exactly what I thought of. I was waiting, I was waiting for her number. 34601.
Oh, yeah, you're right. You're right. That didn't dawn on me, but yeah, you're exactly right.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure, like Constable Jim, like not knowing a whole lot, like was he going in, was he going to be the softie, or was he going to be somebody that was going to play by the rules or whatever? And I was very curious to see how the character was going to be introduced to us.
Oh, what's Misty saying here? Misty in the chat says, oh, Wyatt is a hired hand. I think she is used to getting what she wants without question. Oh, that's why she and Tess will tussle. Jean is calling him beautiful Mountie Jim.
Well, I just wanted to say one thing because when they introduced him, they didn't really give him a chance to be able to show what kind of person he was. So when Fletcher was saying, oh, have a heart, I'm thinking to myself, well, we don't even know that yet. So you're telling us he doesn't have a heart? Like, I don't know. I didn't like that line too well. Because it was like he was implying that he wasn't going to, work with her, with Nora.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm wondering if that was their way of trying to bring in the history of the character without actually having had the character, because like they obviously knew each other. So this was kind of their way to make that connection to their history. That was kind of the way I saw that.
And we know he's going to have a backstory when he joins that cast in season 3, right?
Yeah, right.
I like the way you think, Beth. Absolutely.
Exactly right.
I'll be glad to add him to my flashcards for sure.
That's right.
Jackie, you don't need a flashcard for him.
No, but he's got to be. But hey, if you're gonna put, when you have packs of cards like that, the trading cards, it's always the ones like him that are going to be the most valuable. So he's got to be in the. He's got to be in there.
You will definitely remember his character's name.
So I have a question. The white cord that he has, does that represent a certain rank that he is as a Mountie, or
no? Because this guy he's talking to
doesn't have one.
He also had one too.
Okay, but Michael doesn't have one.
No, Michael doesn't have it. You know what it is? It goes around their neck, and if you follow it, it attaches to their gun. Okay. So I don't know.
So some have it, some don't.
It has something to do with the gun.
I want to say somebody had talked about this before online, and I can't remember now.
That's exactly. I feel like it was.
Yeah, somewhere I saw it online somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, somebody talked about that. I don't remember either what it was.
But I know his strap he wears differently because he's left-handed. So
yes.
Oh, really?
Over the way he wears it over his shoulder.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Constable Jim. Oh, Kat says Jim seems like a man that goes by the book. He is a stickler for the rules. Oh, okay. Maybe that's why she said have a heart. Could be. Or that's why Fletcher said have a heart. Nora meets Jenny and gets some background info on her. Jenny's parents died in an accident when she was 12. She got put in an orphanage, but took off when she found out she has an aunt. She never found her aunt, though. Fearless Fletcher is sweating profusely. Nora tells everyone that he was bitten by a rattlesnake. And this was funny. Mountie Jim looks at him and says, again? So this concludes Mountie Jim's 2 minutes and 50 seconds screen time. I timed it. And I don't know about all of you. I was a little bit disappointed because I thought he'd be on longer.
Yeah, I did too.
I completely agree. I'll be honest with you, especially with all the promotion that was done. And
Yeah,
I
all the
hope
hype.
that
Yeah.
I hope that just leads into good things to come for him. But yeah, I was kind of waiting for more. I thought he did a fantastic job, and I think that his terrific work should speak for itself. That he should definitely be considered for future episodes, future seasons, and would love to know more about the backstory that comes with his character.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but when the episode ended, I thought, oh, that was all we saw of Trevor.
Yeah.
Right.
See him again in another episode. So
Yeah.
My-
Beth,
more screen
go
time.
ahead.
Yeah, my hope would be is like if they're looking for a way to bring him in and they haven't thought about this yet, I could see him coming to Brookfield to check in on Jenny, and maybe there would be a way that he would somehow come to take care of her or something. Like there would be like some connection there. I just felt like there could be a possibility for that happening, or maybe helping her find her family member, or I feel like there could be something there.
Yeah. Oh, now Beth, I gotta ask you, is Trevor in the next episode? Is that the one he's in?
Well,
or the 5th or 6th?
I don't
You
know.
There
you
don't
was
know?
a person named Abe who wrote an article, a Twitter article that said he would be in episodes 3 and 4, but I don't know.
Oh, okay.
When he was shooting the block he was shooting was episodes 3 and 4, that block, but they could have shot his scenes during that block to show later.
Oh, okay. I gotcha. Misty says she loves the Mountie outfit costume comparison between Jim and Michael. Oh, okay. Jim's is tightly tailored and unyielding, like his character. Oh, that's interesting. And Michael's is relaxed, freely moving, and carefree in comparison. Oh, like his character. Oh, okay.
That's an interesting analysis because the
Yeah.
hands were kind of bothering me a little bit.
Yeah. Tamara says sometimes this happens in script writing to avoid information dump. Fletcher knows Jim from way back, obviously, but we are going to learn about Jim gradually. Same with Jenny. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh. Oh, Jean loves Jim's expressions. Misty's saying Trevor better get more time. Oh, in his second episode. Okay. The second episode will come later in the season, according to GAF. So I don't know. He'll appear again in season 4. Okay, so it might be, well, yeah. Could be 6. The second episode is action-packed with cattle rustlers. Oh, the second episode that he's in. Okay. All right.
Ooh.
Oh, wait, what's Jay saying? Beth's picture of Mountie Jim, he is wearing his gun on the left.
That's a reversed picture, though. It's reversed.
In this episode, he's wearing it on the right. Oh, wait a minute.
But the picture you see in my background is a reversed picture. He's really wearing it on his left shoulder. The background picture.
Oh, the background picture's reversed. Yeah, because in that picture, right, Trevor's on the left. Yeah. Yeah, you can't see.
The strap is actually his left arm.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, you can see the strap here in the picture on his left.
Yeah.
Right, right there. Oh. Let's see. Here, Kat knows the inside scoop here. Trevor is not in episode 4. Okay. I watched it last night with a watch along on PureFlix Premium. Oh, okay. So she already saw it. Oh, do they do it that early? I thought they did that on Wednesday nights. Wow, I didn't realize they did it on Monday. Oh, all right.
I did not know that.
Wow. I didn't either.
That was the premium.
Yeah, that's a premium subscription you have to pay extra to do that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I hear you. Cricket, okay, you're up.
All right, so the next scene we see Nora, Mike, and Jenny. They arrive back at the orphanage and basically introduce Jenny to the whole family of, the family. I say family. And so all the girls are like, come on, Jenny, we'll go show you to your room and your bunk and everything to get her situated. And so Charlotte sits down and she wants to share her bunk with her. So she'll take the top bunk or whatever. And Jenny's like, well, you guys, I'm going to rely on you guys because you're going to have to, you know, make sure I get everything down pat, basically the chores and all the different things. And they're kind of just letting Jenny know how great it is and how Lillian, you know, she's in London or whatever, and that Nora and Eleanor are going to take care of them. But yeah, it was a cute little scene, and they all welcomed Jenny, and it was cute. Very good scene.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like, you know, they all wanted to show Jenny the ropes, which I thought was so sweet. But I felt like Jenny's kind of street smart and she knows that she needs to get in good with them. You know, so I'm like, is this really who she is? Is she really, you know, or is this kind of an act that she is putting on? And I'm going to be really curious to see how her character unfolds, like which direction that will go.
Right. Yeah. I was wondering the same thing. Is she naughty and this is all an act, or does she really love being there? Yeah. Yeah.
Because she's probably done this several times. Like this is not her first rodeo. And so, hey, I know how to play the game. I know how to get what I need so that I can, you know, get back to where I want to be.
Yeah. And I was thinking, I was going to ask all of you, you think Jenny might be a troublemaker for Nora and Eleanor? You never know.
I don't know.
It's too soon to tell yet.
I think they want the kids to be good children. So
probably, yeah.
I'm going to say, just Jackie, you could be right. I'm going to say she's probably going to be nice because we don't want too much drama, I guess.
Yeah, this network doesn't like drama. Although I think drama makes for good TV, though.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, reality. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Christmas episode, they had an ornery boy. So
yeah, that's
not
true.
water things down too much. But
all right. So in the next scene that we see Michael finally going to see Maggie at the infirmary, and he walks in the door, and she's like freaks out because she's asking him, he tells her he got bit, and she's like, oh, you got a bug bite? And he's like, no, rattlesnake. And so she's like, what? She like grabs his arm, she goes, throws him in the chair, and then next thing you know, she's ripping off his pants, and he's like, hey, those are government issue, you know. And she's like, it doesn't matter, you know. And so she's looking at it, and he's just looking at her, and he goes, I'm fine. And she says, she looks at him and she says, do you look for trouble or does trouble look for you? And he's like, I can't remember. I think he says, I don't know, or something. But yeah, it was a good scene. And
yeah, he says something like both or something like that.
Right.
Or
well,
I'm not
I wondered
sure
if maybe this is why his pants were so loose, because she had to be able to rip them to see that rattlesnake.
Right.
So let's chat about rattlesnake bites. We did a little bit earlier. I thought that rattlesnake bites were fatal. At least in 1920, I thought they were. I didn't think there was any treatment for them.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, maybe hadn't. I think I've seen old shows like Dr. Quinn, where they suck the venom out.
Yeah,
you have to get to them fast enough.
Okay.
Like you know, Michael went through an entire day and part of an evening.
Yeah.
That bite.
Yeah. But I do know people can get like build up a tolerance for the venom. I mean,
really?
I've seen shows where people actually like basically ingest venom to build a tolerance.
Well, and I think he said too, if you don't get too stressed, if you keep the stress level down, it'll kind of help things. Because he said, quit talking about death. That's making me feel stressed. Well, like I thought that was interesting too. Like, is that really a thing, or was that just kind of a story?
It just means you start getting nervous and your heart rate goes up, your blood's circulating faster, so the venom reaches, you know, more areas quickly.
Said the healthcare specialist. Thank you. See, I told you, I'm entertained and learning all at the same time. I love it. That's a very thank you.
So in the chat, Tamara thinks that Jenny's going to run off. Jean thinks that Jenny has a troubled past and maybe wants to find her family. Yeah, I definitely think she wants to find her family
So,
after the
just to
ending scene.
back
that we see.
off of what Jean is saying,
What?
we know that she's got a long lost relative, her aunt
Mhm.
perhaps. And I feel like the theme for the kids this season is miracles. And so I'm thinking that we're going to see a couple of miracles that have to do with these kids. So I'm not sure if she'll run off. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but
Oh, Misty says juvenile rattlesnake bites are fatal because they release all their venom in a strike. Adult rattlers will strike when in danger and release some venom, but not all. Oh, okay. That's interesting. Oh, okay. Tamara says he worked up immunity. Yeah, back in the day, before they got anti-venom, they would use the blood of people that had several rattlesnake bites. Oh, she read it somewhere. Okay.
Wow.
boy, we are learning
Okay.
so much about snakes tonight.
I know, right? Hey, you never know. Could become useful. Summer is coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so is tick season.
Yeah. Well, it's funny in the leave scenes. That's what I kept thinking was, oh my God, those poor kids are going to have ticks in there.
Oh, next scene. Apparently, the Lawrence Ranch doesn't have electricity. So Wyatt, I guess, must work during the day when lights aren't needed. Hannah is walking around with a lantern. She sees a raccoon, and her lantern goes out. Then, somehow, she winds up at the orphanage and asks Nora for matches. So, when Nora opened the door, I thought, wait a minute, how did she get to the orphanage? Because it was established in the first part of the episode that the ranches are a long way away from town.
She could have rode the donkey.
Yeah. When she was standing there, I'm like, wait a minute. And then I thought, is Hannah a witch? Is she like Elizabeth Montgomery on Bewitched? Did she like wiggle her nose and just transport herself to the orphanage? Because they didn't show how she got there. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going with the donkey, Chad. I mean, he knows the way, or she does. I don't know if it's he or she, but
yeah. Now, did any of you think the same thing?
I didn't even consider that until you said that, but you're right. It's pitch black. And they did make reference later on about if you don't like a dark house, you're not going to like the dark woods. But I didn't think about getting there, but you're right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
You see the location of where the orphanage is, really the only place close is the town. You don't even see the ranches.
Yeah, because Wyatt said to Hannah earlier in the hotel, let's get going. We got to get going before it gets dark.
And does Wyatt sleep in the barn, or does Wyatt have his own house somewhere? Like she couldn't just.
Yeah, I don't know. I assume he doesn't live on the ranch.
Okay.
Yeah, because he took off on his horse and said, "Okay, well, I'll see you," or something.
Yeah,
and he went the other direction.
Yeah, he implied it was a long way to get to the ranch. Yeah. So they invite Hannah to stay for dinner. We find out she owns a fancy dress shop in St. Louis, and then they invite her to stay the night. Jenny sees the other kids praying before bed, so she says a prayer. So this surprised me. I didn't think that Jenny would be religious.
Well, and
she
this
sees
is
the other kids.
Yeah, this was the moment where I was like, it kind of seemed like that was a real moment for her. Like that, although she might have been faking some of the other things, like that prayer seemed to be a real moment. And again, maybe praying for, being reunited with family or whatever it was. But that was another moment for me that was really emotional. Like it was a beautiful moment. And I love again, like how they weave the faith in without like making it so overwhelming as part of the storyline. Like it's just weaved in very nicely.
It was so organically done.
Right.
It didn't seem forced. It was a natural, something you would expect them to have done.
Oh, this is a good point. Kat says in the chat, she's curious about where most of the residents of the town live. Yeah, that's true. Because we never
That
see
is
any
true.
houses. We don't see
Yeah.
houses. Yeah, that's a good point.
That is
Because
so
on When
true.
Hope Calls, they show the townhouse or the row houses all the time.
Yeah,
Right.
But on this show, you don't see any of their houses.
it's very true.
On her ride back to the ranch, Hannah runs into Tess. So now we know how Hannah got to the orphanage. She rode this horse, but they didn't show us right. They didn't show her riding that horse to the orphanage. So yeah, I was confused. But when I saw this scene, I'm like, oh, okay, she rode that horse. Now I get it. Tess gives her an offer on her ranch, $15,000. Tess says it's a fair price. Hannah says, from my experience, the first offer is never the best. And I don't know you, so why should I trust you? Oh, all right, so get this. I looked this up. So $15,000 in 1920. That is equal to $250,000 today.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
Tess offered her $250,000 for this ranch.
How many acres is it?
I don't know. I don't know, but that's a lot of dough, Tracy.
I mean, I was wondering what the conversion would be. Thanks for looking that up, because I sort of wondered when she said, I'm like, okay, that sounds like a lot of money for back in that time, but I don't know. And obviously we haven't heard any other offers. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But then I thought, is she going to give the low ball offer? Thinking that maybe Hannah doesn't really know a lot about this, because she kind of made a comment in the beginning, more or less like, because she's this fancy woman, what would she know about being a businesswoman or being a rancher or whatever? So thinking that maybe she would pull a fast one on her and she would get, this one offer and take it and she'd be gone.
Yeah. I think that's what Tess was thinking. Yeah. Yeah. Hannah tells Wyatt about Tess's offer. He says, I think you could do better. And, Tess is not going to like that when she finds out that Wyatt discouraged Hannah from selling to her. Yeah, I'm wondering if Tess is going to get mad at Wyatt now, start disliking him.
Yeah, because Tess wants that ranch bad.
Yeah. Oh, Misty. Misty says she lives in California, so $250,000 is nothing for prime property. That's true.
That is the truth. Yeah.
How many acres the ranch is?
Yeah.
Oh, now for the finale here.
Yep. So in this scene, we see Jenny, and she's up in the room, and she's looking at a picture that was folded up in her hat. And it's a picture of an older woman and a younger girl or young woman. And she turns it around, and on the back of it, it says, "Happy birthday, Dolores, love Grandma." And then she hears Jenny come up because, or not Jenny, I'm sorry, Nora. She hears Nora coming up because Jenny didn't help set the table or whatever for breakfast. And so she comes up there, and as soon as she comes up there, Jenny hides the picture real quick and puts her hat on and says, "I'm coming." And so that makes us kind of believe that there's a story behind that photo. That maybe that's not, I thought it was Jenny in the picture, honestly, and I need to look at it again. Because I'm like, oh, well, she's under an alias name. So that's got me thinking about,
That's what I thought too, Cricket. I thought that maybe she wasn't actually Jenny. That's what I was thinking. But it was kind of hard to see, so I wasn't certain. So I'm glad to hear that somebody else was thinking that same direction.
Yeah. That's what I was going to ask all of you. Who is Dolores?
Yeah.
Is Jenny Dolores?
I think so. That's what I think.
So?
Yeah. Because why would you hide? Like, she just seemed to really want to, to make sure she wasn't going to disclose anything about that. And so I thought that was too, it added to me thinking that, there's something mischievous that might be happening here, or she may not be sticking around and try to take off.
Yeah.
And is Dolores Jenny's mother? Or is Dolores Jenny's aunt?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know. The first thing I was thinking was the whole situation with Lillian and Grace, and how the grandparents went off or something, if I'm remembering correctly. And so then I'm thinking maybe somehow, some way, Jenny's related to Grace and Lillian.
Oh, really?
Mm.
But I don't know if it's there, you know what I mean? But that was like the first thought that went through my head.
Oh.
Because of the whole situation with Lillian and Nora, or not Lillian, Grace
Oh.
and Nora. So yeah, or Lillian. I get them
So does
confused
that
sometimes.
mean Jenny could be related to Nora?
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh.
I don't know. They
Oh.
brought the whole ant thing back, and so I'm like, why would they reference the ant thing again?
Uh-huh.
So I don't know. Not sure.
Someone online said that maybe Nora is Jenny's aunt. I don't know about that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I feel like there's some story there that's intermixed with the whole family there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's the first thing that popped into my head, though.
Now, Misty makes a good point here. She says it's interesting that she hides the photo. Why wouldn't she want to show it and ask for help? Yeah, she's being very secretive about the
Exactly.
photo.
Yep.
So obviously, yeah. Yeah, I was thinking the same thing you were thinking, Jackie, that her real name is Dolores, that Jenny's not her real name. Yeah. Let me read some of these other comments here. This was the Space News Lillian. Oh, did Lillian request her? Did Lillian request Jenny to go to the orphanage?
I just thought she had somebody sent her a telegram saying that there was somebody in Clearwater, and it was
Yeah.
addressed to Lillian. I didn't know she
Yeah.
actually requested her, though.
I just thought it was more because she ran an orphanage. Like I didn't, that never necessarily dawned on me that would have been the connection. It was just you have an orphanage. Do you have a space? We have a child that needed a space.
Now I have to say this episode flew by. When this episode ended, I was like, wait a minute, it's over already?
Yeah.
And I don't know about you, but it felt like it ended in the middle of the episode.
Right. Yeah.
To me, it did. And this final scene just didn't feel like a final scene. It felt like there should have been another scene like after this one.
I thought it was a good cliffhanger. Like I thought it was something for me that I was like, this is what's going to have me tuning in next week because now I want to know more. So.
Yeah. Exactly.
So that wraps up episode 3. What are your overall thoughts?
I thought it was the best episode of the season so far, not just because of Constable Jim, but he had a lot to do with it. But I just think that I thought the episode had a little bit of everything in it. I think we're getting to know the characters better. The story is developing. And I just, I loved everything. And of course, like you said, Chad, all the beautiful fall foliage and just made it gorgeous.
I thought it was also the best episode yet. And I think because we finally resolved Gabe and Lillian, and so now they can really get to the meat of this new cast and this story moving forward. Unfortunately, the season is almost over. It's half over. So we're going to get right into it, and then it's going to be over. So I'm hoping that we get a Christmas movie to help bridge season 2 and season 3, because I'm assuming there's going to be a season 3. There has to be. So yeah.
I agree. I thought it was the best episode too, because we got to meet so many new characters and kind of get them started in the whole weaving of Brookfield. And I also think that the season is almost over too. And like you, Beth, you're saying Christmas. I'm talking a wedding one. I wish they would do a wedding one.
I was almost thinking, I wish Mountie Jim would be married. We need somebody married.
Right?
Somebody in this town has to get married, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Well, maybe Mountie Jim can get married and he can adopt Jenny or Dolores or whoever she is.
Right. There you go.
For him,
but
they have a kid of his own. In fact, let's write the next script for him.
Right. But yeah, I agree. Season 3, they gotta give us more. And Constable Jim needs to be in seasons,
and
more
seasons. Longer season too.
Oh yeah, 6 episodes, not long enough. Yeah. So I like that we had a little bit more action in this episode. I like that we had new characters and some new storylines we learned about. And like you mentioned, Jackie, I love the scenery and all the horses and
Beautiful.
all the riding that was going on. Very visual appealing episode.
Very much so.
So we talked about Sam and his fortune. Some people think he won't get it, and some people think he will and waste his money or something like that. Do you think Nora and Hannah will become good friends?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. Do you think that Hannah will sell the ranch or stay in town?
She's got to stay in town.
Yeah, stick around. Yeah.
She's got to stay in town. She's going to open her dress shop. I mean, come
Yeah.
on.
Yeah.
That's coming. I could see that. And
Open a dress shop in town.
maybe that's who
That's
who Mountie Jim falls for. You never know.
Mm-hmm. And then Sam can buy Maggie a dress in Hannah's dress shop.
There you go. No catalog necessary.
Maybe a
That's
little
right.
Gotta get something here, but
Yeah. And we talked about maybe Tess and Hannah will become enemies. We talked about, okay. I was going to ask you earlier if you think Jenny will rob them blind and then take off. But I think, like Beth said, I think she'll probably be a good kid because I don't think they want any of the kids to be bad. But
I mean, well, and it goes back to like, I think that would have been the reality of the time frame, though, that like sometimes, unfortunately, that happened to some kids because they had to learn that was the survival of the fittest. But if the network doesn't want to show that, then maybe she will just very quickly just come into the fold and, you know, she'll be okay. But I don't know. I feel like there's some mischief that we're going to see unfold.
we need to have some. I'm looking forward to the cattle rustlers.
Right.
I don't know if we even get to see, do they carry guns? I'd like to see some guns drawn too. We'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, back then, that's what happened. You know what I mean? Like, we got to be real to the era here.
Exactly.
So how long do you think Nora and Mountie Mike will keep butting heads?
Well, the fact that they're a lawyer and a Mountie, I think they're going to be butting heads, especially if Mountie Michael arrests somebody that Nora has to defend or wants to defend. They have to have tension.
Yes.
Go ahead, Jackie.
Well, I'm wondering then, to Beth's point, you know, either that's how season 2 could end, that he arrests somebody and she's very angry, or it could be that we're left on the cliffhanger that something good is about to happen between the two of them and we need to wait till season 3 to see what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, eventually, you know, they're going to express feelings for each other. But when it's going to happen, you don't know. Is it going to happen this season? Is it going to be next season, you know, if they get renewed? I mean, yeah. I was wondering how long they're going to drag out them not getting along. And the other thing I'm wondering, the last thing I'm wondering why Nick Bateman is not a major motion picture movie star.
I know.
Because I think he should be up there with Tom Cruise and George Clooney making those kind of movies.
He definitely has presence.
I mean, I know you are all Trevor fans, but I think this guy's got some rugged good looks.
I have to tell you guys something, and I'm going to laugh at myself for saying this because I don't want everybody to know this. So I got a subscription of Passion Flicks. I don't know if you guys have seen that on Amazon. You can get the subscription, right? And it's kind of like the Hallmark After Dark or the Great American Family After Dark, but they would never go there. But you know what I mean? And so it goes a little further, right? So I pull up the movies, and the first movie that I picked was this Playbook, something Bachelor's Playbook or something, and Nick Bateman is the character. He's the lead role, and I'm like, that's Nick Bateman. And so I was freaking out, and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what are the chances the first movie that I pick, he's in this movie? And oh my gosh, I was like, wow, I didn't even know who he was. And then knowing now he's in the series, but then that first movie, he's the lead role. And I was like, oh my gosh.
So was this a steamy movie?
It was the steamy movie, yes.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. and yes.
All right. He
Yeah.
kind of reminds me of Tom Selleck. You know, he's got kind of those looks.
Yeah, that sharp cut, dark,
Yeah. Yeah.
chiseled look. Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see that.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
think he needs a new agent. He's got to quit messing around with these made for TV cable movies, and shows. He needs to go for the feature films.
Well, I'm not gonna say nothing. I'm just gonna be
Yeah,
quiet.
I know. Well, your boy's been in feature films.
Yeah, he's been in a few. Reagan, I mean,
Yeah, he's been in a few.
Reagan.
He was in the Reagan movie. That was a popular movie.
Yeah.
Hound and Where the Wind Blows coming up.
Yeah, is that going to play in movie theaters?
Supposed to.
Supposed to, yeah.
Okay.
That's what we heard.
Mhm.
Okay. All right, that's good to know. I wasn't sure if it's going to be in theaters or on TV.
Yeah, we have to wait till the fall. We were hoping it was going to be a spring premiere, but we now have to wait till fall.
Uh-huh. And his movie with Danica McKellar is coming out in the fall too.
It is. And that was supposed to be another, they were hoping it was going to be a spring premiere as well.
Uh-huh.
But they filmed that one in the fall, right? So it'll have fall foliage in the background.
Yeah, I think,
it's
late summer, early fall. Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought that one would be like a Mother's Day type, would fall kind of around Mother's Day or something.
Oh, here you go. Gene says Trevor needs to be in more major motion pictures. Blonde-haired men are underrated. Oh, Jay says he was great in the Reagan movie.
He was.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jackie, Beth, thank you so much for taking all this time and doing this with us.
Thank you for having us. It was a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you so much. It was great being here, joining all of you.
I look forward to these every week. It's fun.
Thanks. So tell people where they can find you on the socials and where they can find the DonoFans.
Beth, you want to go first?
Well, I don't hang out on Instagram, so I have an Instagram account, but on Twitter, I think I'm at BethP9999. I think that's what it is. On X. And then I'm part of the DonoFans Facebook group. And you'll just, if I post or reply, you'll see my name.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. And then for me, on X, I am JBubbles18. And if you want to follow the DonoFans, it's at Trev DonoFans. And then over on Instagram, we are at DonoFans1. So hope to see you all there.
All right. And Misty says, loved having you two. There you go.
Thanks. It was so much fun.
Yes, the more the merrier. It's always fun to have more than several people on to get different viewpoints on things.
Definitely, because you see things we don't see.
That's right. That's right. Well, thanks for being here. And Cricket, thank you for being here. And of course, thank you for being here, hopefuls and the DonoFans. And we will see you next week for the 4th episode. Until then, you keep the faith, keep smiling, keep your friends close, and keep